Hi, my name is Amber. I wanted to give a little quick video on my experience with having Graves' disease. It is a video, but it's just gonna be audio. I didn't really want to have to show my face. As you know, Graves' disease is an autoimmune disease of the overproduction of the thyroid hormone. I was actually diagnosed with Graves' disease back in February of 2020. When I found out I had Graves' disease, it was honestly around the time I had found out I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant in December of 2019. And around that time, it was a fairly normal pregnancy. I had the normal symptoms. I was nauseous here and there. I didn't really throw up. I didn't have too many other issues besides, just being nauseous. Around January is when I really, really, really started to get sick. I would experience a lot of throwing up to the point where I wasn't able to keep any of my food down. I wasn't even able to really keep water down at that point. Going back and forth to my obstetrician, she was telling me that it was definitely, just regular pregnancy symptoms. However, I knew something was definitely wrong because the symptoms were so extreme that to me it definitely wasn't normal. Nothing that I've never experienced before. There was a day that I became really sick. Which it was a buildup of it. It was days and days and weeks of time, from January leading into February, where I was just getting worse and worse. I couldn't keep anything down. I was always sick. I had zero energy. A lot of things that I did start to notice was I was always shaky. Like I said, I had no energy. It was just like complete loss of muscle with me. Like I couldn't really do anything. I also would always have a racing heartbeat, and my I was always hot. So when I was in my room or sleeping, I always needed to have the air conditioner on, running. And this was February at that time, so I always needed some type of air conditioner or some type of fan on me because I was so hot and I was sweating all the time. I visited my OBGYN once again back in February, and I literally was at the point in tears, crying, throwing up in the office consistently because I was just so sick. I was throwing up bile. There was just nothing else to come out of me. And, at that appointment, it was a lot of trying to figure out what we could keep inside of me as far as food and nutrient wise, that won't come back up. So a lot of suggestions were a lot of Gatorade, soups, ice pops, things that would be easy on the stomach. However, for me, nothing was easy on my stomach. Not even the water. Like just drinking water did nothing for me. One day I had called into my OBGYN because I got to the point where I was like, something has to be done. Like I'm so sick. And she had ended up sending me to the emergency room to go get rejuvenated, which is basically they just give you an IV and give you nutrients that you had previously lost already. Like your salt and, just nutrients in your body from eating and being able, to drink that I wasn't getting because I wasn't, keeping anything inside me at that point. And on top of that, I was losing extreme amounts of weight, which is unlike me. I am a bigger person. Uh, at that appointment, when I was getting rejuvenated, it did feel okay. It helped a little bit, probably for the first 2, 3 hours I was there. And then once I left, I was literally immediately back to feeling the exact same way. And at that point, my doctor had started scheduling me to have these rejuvenation appointments 3 times a week. So in February, when I had finally had my first appointment to get to, be rejuvenated, it was a day of just complete, like, feeling sick, weak. When I got to the hospital with my husband, I couldn't even walk. We had to end up getting a wheelchair for him to, roll me up to the rejuvenation appointment. And once we got up to the appointment, they were starting to set me up and get ready to give me my IV for my fluids and stuff. And they were taking my vitals, and my blood pressure was just skyrocket. It was so high. It was like in the 200s. My heartbeat was like out of control. It was like my heart was ready to come out my chest. And at that point, they wanted to send me to they sent me to the emergency room stat. They were really afraid at that point that I was going to have a stroke. And they had to call my OBGYN and let her know what was going on. And she was just extremely worried too. She was like, immediately to the emergency room. Once I got to the emergency room, I was admitted immediately, basically. After going through, checking my vitals and all that, like, I was admitted. And my time of me being admitted in the hospital, I was here in Allentown, Pennsylvania at St. Luke's. My time being admitted, I was probably in the hospital 2 weeks. I got several tests done, down from blood work to ultrasounds. At first they had no idea what was wrong with me. I did get started on blood pressure medication because one of the biggest things that was going on was my blood pressure too. My blood pressure was skyrocket, and they had no idea like why it was skyrocket. And I guess upon almost 2 weeks of me being there, it was coming to the conclusions that I did have something was off with my levels with my T3 and my T4s. So I guess at the hospital that I was at, they didn't have any endocrine doctors that were able to treat me and get me started on medication and things. So I was actually transferred to Easton Hospital, where I was treated by an endocrinologist, a team of them, because of the fact that I was pregnant. It was dangerous. I was at a very, very dangerous point, especially being pregnant, and how sick I was. I lost so much weight, with the time frame of, people trying to figure out what was going on with me. But it took a while for my body to get back on track. The way that my endocrinologist explained it to me was, I've always had Graves' disease. It's, it is something that is passed down from family. I don't know anyone in my family who has, Graves' disease. I did ask. Nobody knows. So it's definitely something I had no idea about. Definitely new to me. It's crazy to me how much my body was affected by just an overproduction of the hormones. I went through a lot throughout my pregnancy. I had to start taking thyroid medication on top of the high blood pressure medication. I was also taking another medication for nausea specifically. I can't think of the name of it, but I was on a couple medications throughout my pregnancy, constantly getting blood work done. That was a big thing while I was pregnant. I had to consistently get blood work done to check my levels. After I had my daughter in August 2020, that was another thing. After I had her, I had to get blood work done to check to make sure that my levels were consistently going back to normal. I don't have to take the methomethazole anymore. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I always butcher it. My levels have been okay, which I really do need to go back to the endocrinologist. I was supposed to be making future appointments and you know, having blood work done to continuously check my levels to make sure that I'm staying within, you know, a certain level. But I haven't done that lately. But this is something I am gonna have to deal with for the rest of my life. You know, now that I know what it is, I know what to look out for when I'm not feeling well. You know, I do have to deal with the blood pressure aspect now for the rest of my life. I am on blood pressure medication. I take labetalol. Unfortunately, like I said,